Gary Vee and Kevin Rose casually mentioned this wine NFT idea in a podcast episode, and I just couldn't let it pass us by without diving in further. And I like this idea because other than having true scale, which could make it be worth billions of dollars, you don't have to be crazy into NFTs and blockchain to understand its value. It will require someone with knowledge of the blockchain tech stack to execute, but also knowledge of things like wine and fine art. And I think it's a more interesting and applicable way of using Web3 to scale the unscalable. But in order to understand how NFTs can turn mere bottles of moderately priced wine into a billion-dollar business, we need to take a trip to the French Riviera and look at a place called a free port. Free ports are high-security storage facilities in tax-free jurisdictions or near-shore locations. These include places like Geneva, Zurich in Switzerland, Singapore, Luxembourg, and there's even one in Delaware. They are extremely secure and discreet, but also massive, taking up hundreds of thousands of square feet or the equivalent of multiple football fields. Free ports were originally used by pirates to divvy up plunder, and then in the late 1800s they were used to store grain as it was transited between countries. But now they are used to store art, wine, and precious metals, and how they work is key to understanding our NFT business case later on. One way free ports are legitimately used in the art world is as a place to park art pieces, either as investments to appreciate in value or just a secure tax-free holding location. When you decide to sell that Picasso or Gauguin, it will go up for sale or go up for auction. When it sells, if the new owner also has a vault at the free port, the canvas will just go from one vault down the hallway to another. It never actually leaves the building or even sees the light of day. According to the Louvre's president, as told to Town and Country magazine, free ports are the greatest museums that no one ever gets to see. Now, when most people go to apply this free port model to NFTs and wine, they picture a warehouse filled with the world's most expensive wine vintages and a matching catalog of NFTs on OpenSea. And while that business case has potential, it's missing something. It's missing large-scale accessibility, which is the whole appeal of NFTs. As Gary Vee and Kevin Rose pointed out, us regular Joes collect moderately priced wine the same way high net worth individuals collect top shelf $1,000 bottles of wine.
So instead of having an offshore warehouse filled with rare collectible wine, a much more mass market approach is to have a regular onshore warehouse filled with affordable but still collectible wines in the $50 to $1,000 range.
If you made a digital twin in the form of an NFT for every bottle of wine in the collection, people could buy, collect, trade, and sell wine with the same ease that people buy, trade, and sell CryptoKitties, Axies, and Bored Apes, without having to actually store the wine themselves.
On the back end, as the issuer of the NFT and custodian of the wine, you just need to link each bottle to the NFT with a barcode or a QR code and keep the wine in premium condition while it accrues value and gets traded back and forth.
Now, thankfully, you don't need an expensive offshore tax-free warehouse to store the wine. In fact, any climate-controlled warehouse will do. And warehouses actually might be easier to come by than you'd think. In early 2022, Amazon spent billions of dollars developing multi-story warehouses all across the US close to highly populated cities. And they did this to keep up with the surge in demand of online shopping that's happened over the last 2 years. They did all of this only to have consumer spending pump the brakes. And as a result, they are now subleasing a lot of the spaces that they can no longer expand into. Now, that's not to say that subleasing a multi-story warehouse is going to be cheap, but where there's an entrepreneur, there's an entrepreneurial way. Eventually, when someone wants to drink the wine and burn the NFT, they can request that the wine is shipped to them from storage and that the token is retired from the blockchain. Burning or retiring the NFT means that it is removed from the database so it can no longer be traded on the blockchain. Just so you know, you will need to pay gas fees when you retire a token. And no one better rat me out to Graham Stephan for buying a $5 Starbucks. It was technically free, I had a gift card. Now the legalities of shipping wine will need some attention, and you will need to do things like know your customer and age verification, and probably, a liquor license or two. But even with the logistics to consider, it's still a win for the wine seller, who continues to make a profit every time that NFT is traded and then when it is eventually sold. And it's a win for the wine enthusiast because now they have this documented history of where their wine came from and where it's going, ensuring that it actually is the particular wine that they're after. If you're a CSI fan, it has a documented and uneditable chain of custody. All this to say, you don't need to be a level 10 crypto bro to take advantage of Web3, blockchain, and NFTs. No matter what you're interested in or what business you're in, odds are there is a Web3 use case out there that could be a billion-dollar idea. It's just waiting for someone to go figure it out. That being said, if you want to learn more about hybrid NFTs, check out this video right here.